So yeah, I'm guessing the previous section on image optimization didn't exactly the difficulty level of it didn't send you over the edge. So, and it's much the same in this section on lazy loading. So what exactly is lazy loading? Well, we're using, or if you elect to use lazy loading, we're going to use it as a means to further reduce our page weight and also primarily to reduce the number of HTTP requests on the page. And here's how lazy loading does that. The user lands on a page and does some, they can scroll. However, the content whatever content you lazy load is not loaded on the page until the user scrolls to it. Like so. And a lot of people have a misapprehension actually about lazy loading, that it's just for images. This is not the case. You can lazy load images, content iframes, widgets, all sorts of wonderful happy stuff. And much as it is with EWW Image Optimizer, we've tested every available means by which to every code-free, or without you having to learn code, means by which to lazy load various content. And the solution that I'm going to recommend to you is by far away, again, much like the Image Optimizer, the most user-friendly and conflict-free and compatibility issue-free that we have found. Further, it does enable you to lazy load pretty much everything that can be lazy load. And the name of that solution is BJ Lazy Load. And there it is. And again, we have this installed. If we did not, the install now. Anchor text would be there. So where is this? Well, it's where everything else pretty much is, over in your Settings tab. Now, configuration here, again, you are going to want to dial this in relative to your needs. I'm going to give you some basic, I would recommend go ahead and ticking everything yes here in this upper portion. And what you absolutely want to do, because if you choose to use this, we are going to be integrating it into, we're going to be integrating this plugin's BJ Lazy Loads JavaScript file into the auto optimize, that single auto optimize file. You want to load it in WP footer. There's an option for it, WP footer and WP head. If in fact you find that you can load all of your JavaScript in that single footer file, you'll want to go ahead and load it in the footer. Those of you who find that you need to load your JavaScript in the head, be very few of you, but some of you will load it in the head. So back up to this for a moment. You can apply this to, obviously, to content, but also to text widgets, post thumbnails, your gravatars, all the site images and iframes. Now this could potentially, for some of you, if you have a lot of widgets, have a lot of post thumbnails, have a lot of comments with gravatars, and an image-heavy site and some iframes, this could potentially cut your page weight in half if you elect to use all of these things. The placeholder image URL. This is really the only problematic feature within BJ Lazy Load. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't render very well. If you have an image of specific dimensions that you want to use as a placeholder image in on the page, it often, let's say the dimensions are 150 by 150. Well, it will exaggerate those to the full size of the image, and you'll get a blurry placeholder image. I would just leave this blank. It's distracting anyway, even if you were to be able to dial this in and find the exact image size. Here you can skip images with certain classes, and it gives you examples. For most of you will use this. If you use this, you will use this with specific images, not an entire class, image class. For example, image 235, and most of you will know how to find the image number in your source code. The threshold, this is the number of pixels at which it will begin to load whatever content widgets, thumbnails, Gravatars, images, or iframes. This is the amount in pixels that, let's say, the user is scrolling. When it is 200, when the user rather is 200 pixels off, it will load. For example, the image that you are lazy loading at, it will load it at, we have it set at 200 pixels, and I believe that is the default. Infinite scroll. If your theme uses infinite scroll, tick this on. If not, leave it off. These two features here you will want to leave off. Do not load high DPI retina images, and do not load responsive images, and that is because of if you elect to use BJ Lazy Load, leave those off, because we will be integrating some things in advanced optimizations, and also in the section that deals with optimizing the edge that will conflict with these. So I do very highly recommend you leave those off. You'll want to test in between implementations of these things again, to test, and then test again to make sure that you're getting the desired result. And the reason is because lazy loading anything on some websites not only does not provide a performance enhancement, but can actually hinder your performance for reasons that are very complicated. The whys of that you don't really need to know, but you do need to know that lazy loading can cause performance impacts, actually. It can decrease in performance on certain sites and certain setups. So again, test as you implement these things. On each page, BJ Lazy Load also gives you an option to disable lazy loading for that entire page, which is really a neat feature too, if you're having, for example, some conflicts. But we're also going to be doing something in advanced optimizations that renders this option almost not useless, but insignificant. It renders it moot, such that you're not going to have to worry about it. But it is there if in the end you are configuring things such that you will be able to and want to make use of skipping lazy loading on individual pages. And that is essentially it. Again, test as you implement these things. And this is especially true of lazy loading, just simply in virtue of how lazy loading works. It can, on certain sites and setups, have a negative performance impact, a performance decrease, as opposed to actually helping you. If, as you should be, are using webpagetest.org, you'll notice this immediately after implementing BJ Lazy Load. You'll notice this immediately in your speed index, whether or not you are going to get a hit or take a hit or a performance decrease by implementing lazy loading or a performance enhancement. At any rate, this is, for many of you, will be an indispensable tool by which to, in some instances, decrease your page weight, if not HTTP requests as well, by half. So there you have lazy loading.